Today we are going to talk about most controversial topic about reservation. Fine, caste system and reservation. Fine. Vaishak, are you there? Yeah, Vaishak is joining now. It would be better if you can come offline. Today is September, right? September 1. Have you heard about the caste and caste system? Have you heard about caste or caste system? What is that? What is the caste? How one can define caste? Yeah, Vaishak, Damanpreet, Amber, Abhilasha, Timaj, Harsh, Sakshi, Shubham. How can you define caste? Hierarchy of society. What kind of hierarchy? You can find hierarchy in every society, isn't it? You can find hierarchy in all the society around the globe. Right, so how can you define caste? You said hierarchy. Hierarchy. Right? Stratification. Someone says it is a stratification. How can you define caste? Sorry? Differentiating society. Differentiating society. Fine. How do you differentiate on the basis of caste? Or is it a division of labor? Do you think it is based on karma? Is it that? Division of labor, Nitin has put it. Division of labor. How do you define caste? Is it a division of labor which exists everywhere in the world? If you see division of labor, it does exist everywhere of the world. Social status. Athira has asked about it is caste is a social status. ज्योग्राफी में भी इतने स्टूडेंट थे या नहीं चले गए? इतने ज्यादा थे एक्चुअली पुराने वो स्टूडेंट आते जिनको मैं पॉलिटी पढ़ा चुका हूँ, राइट? मिक्स है एक्चुअली. यस यस यस, उनको पॉलिटी पढ़ा चुका हूँ मैं. अच्छा, कास्ट इज ए सोशल स्टेटस, राइट? नाउ इफ यू लुक एट caste is not a division of labor, it is a division of laborer. It is based on birth, isn't it? Is it based on birth or it is based on duty, karma? किस पे बेस है? कर्म पे है या बर्थ पे है? बर्थ पे है. देयर इज नो कर्म. तो कर्म कुछ भी करो, बट इफ यू आर ब्राह्मण, यू आर ब्राह्मण, राइट? Ambedkar cannot be regarded as a Brahmin, although he was a meritorious. He has, and numbers of degree, more qualified than any political leader in the Constituent Assembly, but cannot be called Brahmin. Right? Endogamous birth, yeah, it is like race. It is a like race, okay, but race में भी इंसान को टच करते हैं. Black is not untouchable in the West. If you talk about Nitin, if you compare caste with race, so black is not that black is untouchable. Yes, you are right, black and white race, but black is not untouchable. It's not that black is untouchable. They were touchable. Basically, caste is based on the notion of purity and pollution. Purity and pollution. Do you know who are the pure caste? So-called pure caste. Anyone? Yeah. Then Brahmins, Kshatriya, yeah. Vaishya, and then yeah, but they are not the pure. Then Sudra, right? And then the next is, you have not heard about Ati Sudra? Ati Sudra or Panchamasa, the fifth category, who were largely untouchable. Fine, who were the largely untouchable and called as depressed class by Ambedkar. Depressed classes by, British authority and also Dr. Ambedkar. Now, if you see, these are the Duisa. Have you heard about Duisa? The twice born caste. The twice born. Right? Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Vaishya. They are the Duisa, twice born, as per literature. Right? Now, this Sudra, now in post-independent India, they are called SEBC, socially and educationally backward classes. Politically, they are called OBCs. Right? And this Ati Sudra in post-independent India, they are called SCs, STs. Politically, they are called Dalits. इतना तो है, इतना तो पता है, थोड़ा मोड़ा पता होगा. Of course, you must be knowing earlier. Fine. Now, do you think that there was a suppression on Sudra also and Ati Sudra also? Mostly Ati Sudra, right? Because they were the people who were not touchable, and pollution was tied with them. The notion of pollution. The notion of pollution was tied with them, right? They used to, wear a black thread either in their hand or in their neck, right? They used to keep one, that is called broom in the back, so that when they go forward, the broom sweep the path and the path become pure. Fine. They used to keep a small pot in front of him, and then can spit on that pot. They were not allowed to spit on the path, right? Because the path will be polluted, right? They were not allowed to roam along the main road, and they used to, compel to, like, you use something like that can make noise. Ghanti suna hai? Ghanti, junjuna type. So that the upper caste may know early that, okay, some scheduled caste are coming. They were not allowed to eat cheese, ghee. Ghee pata hai? Ghee? Desi ghee? They were not allowed to eat ghee. They were not allowed to eat mutton. Let me tell you, they were not allowed to wear dhoti. Have you heard about dhoti? We all are wearing, pants, shirt, but the earlier people used to wear dhoti. They were not allowed to wear dhoti. They were not allowed to drink water from the common pond. They were not allowed to, take bath in the common ghat. They were not allowed to use the public, the roads. They were not allowed. Life was so constructed. Right? I don't know, you are a millennium child, whether you know or not. Dr. Ambedkar represented Ati Sudra. He was from Mahar caste from Maharashtra. Right? So there were just several, and if you look at, do you think that this community faced a complex historical injustice in the past or not? Do you think that or not? Let me know your perception about whether this community had faced a complex historical injustice. Why I'm using the complex historical injustice? There are reasons. This is not a simple injustice, right? They were not allowed to roam freely. There were multiple restrictions on them, on their life. They were not allowed to, even speak a single line of Sanskrit slogan. Otherwise, their tongue used to be cut. Right? Their women were not allowed to, cover up the upper part of the body, and their women were used to taxed as per their breast size. Do you know this fact? कहां पर होता था ये? सुना है? कहां पे होता था ये? Right? It was happened with Erava community in Kerala. The Erava women were not allowed to cover their upper half, and the woman used to pay tax as per their breast, and the breast size was measured by the upper caste man with hand. Right? And if you don't think that there was no complex historical injustice, then it's up to you. Whether you have, of course, you have not studied the caste system in India, you have not gone through the literature, but if you go through the several literature, their history is a history of injustice, complex historical injustice. Right? And if you feel that there was no injustice in the past with them, then it's up to your own consciousness. Right? Fine. Okay. Now, if you look at, it's not only the SC community, which is the depressed class community, even the condition of OBC was not good in the pre-independent period. Right? And if you see the woman in, situation was not good in pre-independent period. Right? If you see, especially the Adi Sudras, they were called depressed classes. Later on, they were called SC/ST, and they needed state protection. But how did they need state protection or not? That you have to tell whether this community needed state protection or not. Right? And there are several measures for the state protection. Right? And one of the measure was reservation. If you see the education, they were totally out of education. Totally out of the education. There was no education at all among the Ati Sudras community. Right? However, few people like Ambedkar became, were intelligent and struggle a lot to get education. Right? But that happened only in 20th century, not in 19th century. Like in the south, there was a Narayan Guru. There was many people who fought, who fought for justice. Temple entry movement. There was so much movement. And if you think that this community, right, needs a state protection, so there are different kind of state protection. That is called affirmative action. affirmative action. The concept has come from US, because if you see, as the Atisudra was facing complex historical injustice in India, black was facing the same, right? Black were facing the same in the US. They were traded. They were not allowed to study in common school, right? And what US did, US started giving protection after a movement, civil rights movement, 1950s, 1960s. If you see India, it was not a state protection. State started affirmative action not without its, with their own wish. No, there was a lots of movement in colonial India. If you know about Dalit movement, if you have gone through history, there's an entire Dalit movement. There's an OBC movement, self-respect movement in Tamil Nadu, right? Narayan Guru has done movement in temple entry movement in Kerala, right? There are several movements, right? And there was a consensus that the community needs protection, right? The community needs protection, and this protection is called affirmative action. There are different kinds of protection. First is constitutional protection. Constitutional protection, right? The first affirmative, protection, they needed constitutional protection. If you look at Article 17, if you look at Article 14, Clause 4, right, talks about protecting SC. If you talk about Article 16, Clause 4A, 4, right, it talks about giving protection. If you talk about Article 17, if you talk about Article 332, 330, 331, it talks about protection. Abhi kuch likhna mat. Now, apart from the constitutional protection, there was a legal protection. Legal protection. Right. There was third was a reservation. Right. Fourth was welfare schemes. This is third, right? Oh, third, fourth. Fourth was the welfare schemes. Fifth was, law. Achha, legal protection ho gaya, law ho gaya. Right? So constitutional protection, legal protection, reservation, welfare schemes, and then commission. Commission. This kind of protection was given to the SC. Fine. Constitutional protection, legal protection. Constitutional protection में क्या लिखना है? Example में Article 15(4), right? 16(4)A. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. Welfare. There are welfare schemes. There are reservation. There are commissions. National Commission for Scheduled Caste. Now, affirmative action तो हमने एक लाइन में कह दिया. It is a protective measures. Basically, how can we define affirmative action or state protection? It is a positive discrimination, right? In order to compensate the community of the past historical complex injustice, right? If you look at SC representation in other institutions, there are various institutions. If you look at SC representation, they are abysmally low, right? SC का तो कुछ बिल भी जाएगा, मिलेगा किस तरह? क्यों? Because there is a reservation. अगर रिजर्वेशन नहीं होता तो उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन आप देखने को नहीं मिलता आपको, right? Reservation has contributed a lot for making representation, right? For making representation of a particular community in different space in different places. Fine. Now, if you look at reservation, itna samajh mein aaya? You got the idea? I don't know whether you are in support of the reservation or whether you don't support reservation, but let me tell you, as a teacher, there's a very urgent need. Not only reservation that should be continue for SC, ST, right? There should be more reservation that needs to be created for LGBTQIA. This community has no representation anywhere. Even Indian Parliament has not witnessed a single LGBT community, a MLA or MP from LGBT community, right? I don't know about the UPSC. Even UPSC has no, right? So it's not that reservation should be abolished. No, reservation should be expanded, right? And it should be expanded for those community whose representation has been negligible. For instance, LGBTQIA. Women representation should be increased in all strata, all layers of the government, whether it is a local government. If you see, there is already 50% reservation has been given for women in the local government, but in the state legislature, right, and the parliament, if you look at women representation, it is abysmally low. 15% reservation, 15% representation of women in the present parliament. This parliament is called 17th parliament. 17th parliament. And there are how many women parliamentarians there? 78. How many women MPs are there in the Indian Parliament? 78. That constitute only 15%. Highest ever since independence. How much they are demanding? Women are demanding 33%. 33%. If you go to the state assembly, whether it is Bihar or whether it is Kerala or Tamil Nadu, you can't find even 10% woman representative in the state assembly. Right? So it's not that reservation should be abolished. No, reservation should be expanded to make the society representative or to make the institution more representative. Got the idea? Similarly, जैसे हमने SC की बात की, there are women as a social group, right? If I ask from the man that have you ever faced sexual harassment? Tell me yes or no. The man, I'm asking from man, have you ever faced sexual harassment knowingly and unknowingly ever? If I ask same question with the woman, their answer will be no, their answer will be yes. Their answer will be yes. और बोलोगे कि सर क्यों women को अपने protection तो करना चाहिए? Woman should protect herself. See, this is a structure, right? This is the structure in such way that you can't, it happens. Right? When a woman goes outside of the house, right, men take her as a granted. कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, कुछ भी कह सकते हैं, आंख भी मार सकते हैं, आगे बढ़ जाएंगे, मजे लेंगे. Have you seen that kind of person? There are people, right? क्या करना है? मजे ले रहे, right? Got the idea? So that happens. Fine. So what is affirmative action? थोड़ा affirmative action के बारे में लिखिए. What is affirmative action? Right? What is affirmative action? The caste system थोड़ा सा Indian society पढ़ेंगे आप लोग तो बता दिया जाएगा. Of course, now I took it as a background because origin में नहीं जाने से पहले दिक्कत होती है. Right? Affirmative action. Right? It is a positive discrimination. It is a positive discrimination by the state to improve to improve the socio-economic condition of vulnerable community. It is a positive action taken by the state or by the state to improve the socio-economic condition of vulnerable community. It is an action taken by the state in order to compensate. It is an action taken by the government to compensate the past historical complex injustice. The past complex historical injustice with the group, with the particular group. In addition, affirmative action ensure social justice. Affirmative action ensures social justice. Voice is not clear. Khyati, Damanpreet. Should I change battery? Clear? It's a clear? Okay, fine, clear. Sakshi, please just refresh yourself. Talika? Yeah, it affirmative action ensures social justice, representation, self-respect, and dignity. In case of US, black community had faced complex injustice in the past. In the case of US, black had faced complex injustice in the past. And in the case of India, community like SC, ST, women, LGBTQIA, SCST, क्या लिखा? SST, women, LGBTQIA, OBCs, minorities have faced injustice. Especially SCST have faced complex historical injustice. In Indian case, especially SCST have faced complex historical injustice in Indian case. Now change the para. In Indian polity, change the para and write in Indian polity, there is a consensus that the above community, there is a consensus that above communities needs state protection, needs state protection. Needs state protection. Right? Preamble of the Constitution also seeks to establish justice. The preamble of the Constitution also seeks to establish justice, social, economic, and political. And political, right? And political. There are different kinds of protection given to the vulnerable communities. There are different kinds of protection. There are different kinds of protection given to vulnerable communities. I know you must have heard more about anti-reservation, logic of anti-reservation rather than in support of reservation, right? Many Facebook, many WhatsApp, right? And also when we talk about public sphere, for example, when we talk about in home, right? वहां पर भी, of course, it depends upon where you are from. Upper caste home household, of course, there will be anti-reservation. Have you heard about entitlement? The word entitlement. Word entitlement सुना है? Sir, please repeat the last line. क्या था last line भाई? मैं भूल गया. मतलब there are different kinds of protection given to the vulnerable communities. First, constitutional. उसके बारे बताता हूं. लिख लीजिए पहले. Constitutional and legal protection. Constitutional and legal protection. Second, reservation, or it's called quotas, right? Third, welfare schemes. For socio-economic and educational empowerment. Right? Fourth, क्या बताया था? Fourth, representation. And fifth, commission. For example, commission for SC, commission for ST, commission for OBC, commission for child, commission for, right, minority, etc., etc. अच्छा, अभिलाषा का छूट गया है. अभिलाषा पूछ रही preamble of the constitution से सर. Preamble of the constitution also, declares to ensure justice, social, economic and political. अभिलाषा, इतना ही बोला होगा मैंने. हाँ. No, there is a difference between reservation and representation. Yeah. but both have connection, both have well connected, fine, both have well connected. Abhilasha, preamble of the constitution ensures justice, social, economic and political. Then Abhilasha? No? Fine. So since mostly of you are from engineering background, right, never gone through the literature, even you don't know, you are millennium child, you never experienced discrimination, right? And you never did discrimination. That's also point. Now, how can you realize the discrimination? Right? Now, what you can do, you can feel it at least. I know being upper caste, I cannot experience being Dalit. Right? Because मैं चाहूंगा तो भी मुझे लोग मुझे discriminate नहीं करेंगे. I know if I want, okay, people should discriminate me against me, people should discriminate against me, people will not do that. Why? People is interesting more than in my caste than me. It does happen. लोगों को पूछिए, अच्छा, what is your name? Commission means National Commission for Women, National Commission, Reservation और Commission में अंतर है. अभी आ रहा हूं मैं one by one. SC नाम बताइए कि नाम बताइए. आप नाम बिजेंद्र. अच्छा, उसके बाद ये. अच्छा, उसके बाद भी पता नहीं चलेगा. अच्छा, पिताजी का नाम, उसके भी बात पता नहीं चलेगा. अच्छा, कौन से जात हो? Is it true or not? Tell me. It is a brute truth in India today. Right? The more we try to hide caste, the more it appears in the public domain. Right? Caste is a foundation of Indian society. Right? Caste is a foundation of Indian society. Right? अगर आपको लगता है कि मैंने कभी discrimination face नहीं किया है, you are really from privileged class, privileged caste also. You ask a Dalit, have you faced any type of discrimination in your entire life? They'll say yes. Schooling was my first experience. Schooling where you meet peers group. Who does this discrimination? It starts with your peers group. Right? Nahi. How many of you are from UP, Uttar Pradesh? Many of you are from Uttar Pradesh. The most castes, I mean, I don't consider Bihar is a lower, it's competitive in terms of caste competition, right? But I can't give, Tamil Nadu or Kerala. It's not caste, it's a highly caste society. India is a caste society, right? It is a caste-based society, right? अगर आपको लगता है कि सर उसके बाद भी ये फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, आप अपने मदर से पूछना, मामा आई एम गोइंग टू मैरी अनदर कास्ट पर्सन. पूछ के देखो, आपको पता चलेगा हाउ कास्ट डज मैटर इन योर पर्सनल लाइफ. इफ यू थिंक यू आर सेकुलर, यू कैन गो फॉर इंटरकास्ट मैरिज. यू कांट. यू हैव स्ट्रगल अ लॉट, राइट? यू हैव टू फाइट विद द सोसाइटी, फाइट विद योर फैमिली. Even if you succeed to marry, you will be alienated from your family, from your society. That is a brute truth of the caste system. Or you may be killed. I'm telling you, there are many killing if there is an intercaste marriage. Right? From south to north, everywhere. And there are two kinds of marriage. Do you know? Anilom Vivah and Pratilom Vivah. Have you heard about it? इधर को सुना है अनिलोम विवाह एंड ये वैसा कह रहा है इंडिया इज ए सेकुलर कंट्री एंड इट इज अ डेमोक्रेटिक. एज डेमोक्रेटिक इट इज. नाइदर इट इज अ डेमोक्रेटिक नॉट इट इज अ सेकुलर. लेट मी टेल यू. फाइन. वैशाख. हाँ, अच्छा, ठीक है. Now you don't have heard about अनुलोम विवाह. प्रिविलेज बाद में बताऊं, अभी बताता हूं प्रिविलेज का मतलब. अनुलोम विवाह, अनुलोम विवाह, अच्छा विवाह का नाम सुना है या वो ही नहीं सुना है? सुना है, अच्छा राइट। विवाह के नाम से देखो हंसी आ गई सबके चेहरे पे, राइट। अनुलोम विवाह मीन्स बॉय विल बी अप फ्रॉम अपर कास्ट, राइट, एंड द गर्ल विल बी फ्रॉम लोअर कास्ट. What is pratilom vivah? Opposite of it. Girl will be from lower caste, boy will be from the lower caste, and girl will be from upper caste. Which one is more difficult? Anulom or pratilom? Pratilom is the most difficult, but ये भी आसान नहीं है, ये भी आसान नहीं है. You know how caste is maintained in Indian society? How caste as an institution continue? प्रतिलोम कास्ट मेंटेन कैसे करता है इंडिया में? अब तो लोग इंटरडाइनिंग करने लगे, लेकिन गांव में अभी भी इंटरडाइनिंग नहीं होता है. स्टिल देयर इज नो इंटरडाइनिंग अमंग कम्युनिटी. गांव में कितने लोग गांव घूमे हो तुम लोग? कभी भोज खाया है गांव में? यू नो, हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट भोज? राइट, इनविटेशन. It is not, you know, village bhoj, village, you know, feast. It is a caste feast. Each caste invite their own caste to come and have eat at my place. They don't invite the entire village. So there is a problem of interdining. There is no interdining still allowed in Indian villages. Still 70% people live in village, man. Don't mind कि सर हम लोग शहरी हैं. Still 70% Indian lives in villages, right? Sakshi is saying, sir, even in the city there is interdining, but there is a cup and plate are different. For upper caste there is a different cup. For lower caste there is a different cup. Is it? Right? Have you seen? Not seen? ठीक है, होता है. And there is a, you know, there is a, have you heard about there is a no intercaste marriage? There is no intercaste marriage, and caste continued by this. Caste is continued by this. अगर इंटरकास्ट मैरिज होने लगे ना, मतलब 5 साल में कास्ट डाइल्यूट हो जाएगा, खत्म नहीं होगा, डाइल्यूट हो जाएगा. यू नो डाइल्यूट का मतलब रिजिडिटी जो है ना, देयर आर मेनी रिजिड ना. नाउ अपर कास्ट विल नॉट गो टू द लोअर कास्ट होम टू ईट, एंड द राइट, एंड लोअर कास्ट इज नॉट अलाउड टू कम अपर कास्ट एंड ईट, राइट? और यू नो there is a, that will be diluted. There will be interdining also, intermarriage agar kara do to, but you know it is not happening. Do you know how many percent people, Indian people, do intercaste marriage? नहीं, आइडिया नहीं है. बोलो सर ये सब क्यों पढ़ा रहे हो पॉलिटी में? Only 5%. बहुत जरूरी है, राइट? पॉलिटी जाने के साथ कुछ और आइडिया जीवन में कुछ है ना, कुछ जरूरतें चीज जान लेना चाहिए, राइट? फाइन, राइट? एंड योर अप्रोच शुड बी ह्यूमैनिस्टिक व्हेन यू कम टू एज a civil servant, right? Otherwise, do you think that civil servants are not casteist? The IPS are not casteist? Each institution are casteist. It depends on the degree. Someone are more knowledgeable, know about the society, right? They don't discriminate on the basis of caste. There are officers, there are excellent officers, but there are officers वो पूछ लेते हैं पहले जात क्या है, what is your caste, right? Try to know, understand. Sakshi बोल रही we should also know the negative aspects of the society. Well, it's good if you know that. Now let me come to Indian Constitution and the issue of reservation. Now if you look at Indian Constitution, now if you see Indian Constitution, if you look at preamble, don't write anything. If you look at preamble, if you look at fundamental right, and if you look at DPSP, both are revolutionary in Indian polity. Either preamble, FR or DPSP, all three were revolutionary. Right? Why? Because they are some changes from the colonial time. Otherwise, the entire constitution is inheritance of the British India Act 1935. Right? Otherwise, the maximum clause are from the British India Act 1935. The continuity of the government. What were the changes? Changes was preamble, fundamental right, and the DPSP. Right? And if you know this fundamental right and DPSP together known as conscience of the Constitution. Fundamental right and DPSP collectively called as a conscience of the Constitution. Right? It is a revolutionary in nature. It wants to maintain equality, justice, right, in the society. Now, itna clear hai? Yeah. Now, if you look at the first instance, इतना क्लियर है तो अगर एक मिनट मुझे इन लोगों से भी पूछ लेने दो. Is it clear? साक्षी, फिर फिरनाज, पूजा, दमनप्रीत, अंबर, अभिलाषा, अभय, अथिरा, अभिषेक, शुभम, clear है? लाल रंगा, fine, good. If it is clear, fine. Now I have talked about Champakam Dorairajan case. You know about Champakam Dorairajan. You know Amar Balaji case. You know T. Devadasini case. Right? You earlier know. Now if you look at Indian Constitution, try to establish equality. कहाँ गया भाई? Wait 1 minute. Give me a minute. ये नहीं है. ले मैंने उसको कट. अच्छा ये रहा. यस क्या मैं कह रहा था? इक्वालिटी. The Indian Constitution, ensures to equality. Now, if you look at equality, there are two types of equality. One is formal equality. Formal equality. And there are substantial equality. There are substantial equality. बोलोगे सर ये तो बताया नहीं. मैंने आपको बताया था. The formal equality is equality of opportunity. बताया था equality of opportunity. Equality before law. Right? And if you see Article 15 or 16, 15 and 14, all talks about formal equality. At the same time, if you look at Article 15, Clause 3, right? 15, Clause 4, 16, Clause 4, 4A, it talks about substantial equality. Right? It gives privileges to the particular community. Like Article 15.3 gives privileges to and some, a special provision for women and child. 15.4 for SC, ST and socially backward class commission, community. 16.4 for socially and educationally backward community. 4A for, बाद में बताऊंगा भी, 4A for promotion in reservation. Now, if you look at the 1951, since 1951, what states wants to do? Now, a state wants to promote substantial equality, but the Supreme Court talks about here, or restricting a state, you cannot give that kind of equality. And the example is Champakam Dorairajan. What happened in Champakam Dorairajan? हुआ क्या था चंपाकम दोराइराजन में? Versus state of Madras. क्या हुआ था? Yeah, you are right. Yeah, the Madras state has given reservation to OBC, MBC, right, along with SC and ST. It was challenged. It was challenged in the court. Court ने क्या कहा? You cannot go do it. What court responded? You cannot go for it. What a state did? A state ने क्या उसके बाद क्या किया? Amendment. Yeah. So now if you look at the state gave reservation, Supreme Court negated it. Now there is a First Amendment Act, first CAA, right? The first Constitutional Amendment Act, which added Article 15, Clause 4, right? It added also 9th schedule. Do you know what 9th schedule? Right? 9th schedule is a clause in the Constitution where any law put by the state is beyond the review of the court. Fine. Got the idea? So now here there is a story that a state wants to promote equality. What was land reform? Land reform was to ensure equality, isn't it? मुझे ये बताइए कि ये लैंडलेस लॉग कौन थे? Of course, SC was the, scheduled caste was a SC. अगर आपको फिर भी पता ना चले कि सर कास्ट नहीं है, you go and ask beggars caste. You ask 100 beggars caste and you will find which caste are begging. Right? And then you come to me, sir, whether caste does exist or not. Anyway, got the idea? Now come to T. Devadasan caste. Sorry, T. Devadasan में क्या हुआ था? MR Balaji में. What was MR Balaji? MR Balaji में क्या हुआ? स्टेट ने, वही फिर मैसूर स्टेट है यहाँ पर. मैसूर स्टेट ने क्या कहा? मैसूर स्टेट ने रिजर्वेशन दिया. क्यों रिजर्वेशन दिया? To promote equality ना, to elevate the particular group. अच्छा, कोर्ट ने क्या कहा? What was the Supreme Court verdict? Okay, you can do it, but be limit within the 50%. You all know this, 50%. You know this, right? Now, if you look at the second backward class commission, now state, what a state did? A state established second backward commission. Who headed this second backward class commission? B.P. Mandal, very good. Who, you know, what was the B.P. Mandal's recommendation? What was the B.P. Mandal's recommendation? Athira, Avai, Avilasa, Ambar, you all know primary things. What is the B.P. Mandal's? Are you following the story now? Yes. State wants to promote equality. Now, Supreme Court trying to revert it back. Yeah, the second backward class commission, you're right, Damanpreet, it said, okay, you give 27% reserve. Reservation to OBC. यही कहा ना, स्टेट ने किया क्या? What PV Narasimha Rao did? What PV Narasimha Rao government did? क्या किया? नहीं, अभी तक क्रीमी लेयर नहीं आया मामला. Yeah, you are right. Narasimha Rao government provided 27% reservation to OBC, and it had also provided 10% reservation to EWS. यहाँ तक स्टोरी है. Now, if you look at this, government action was again challenged in the Supreme Court, and that is called Indrasani versus Union of India case. Now we will start talking about the different aspects of reservation, right? Now what happened? There was this government decision was challenged in the court in Indrasani versus State of Union of India. Versus Union of India. अच्छा, इसमें क्या हुआ? वेरी गुड. इसमें क्या हुआ? साक्षी, Damanpreet, Abhilasa, what happened in Indrasani versus Union of India case? It is also known as Mandal case. It is also known as Mandal case. Are you following the story now? Right, from the last class? Fine. What happened in the Mandal case? Now, थोड़ा थोड़ा लिख लिया ऊपर से स्टोरी, या नहीं लिखा अभी तक? अच्छा, लिखो अब थोड़ा थोड़ा लिखो तो ऊपर से, जो भी याद है या नहीं याद है, क्योंकि स्टोरी याद रहेगी आपको, राइट? इट नीड्स you understand it clearly and you write it. SC, Supreme Court rejected 10% EWS reservation. Very good, Mohit. Yeah, Lal Suranga, 27% reservation accepted by the Supreme Court, but it rejected. Then it also that remove creamy layer, right? Very good. So I'll dictate you what Supreme Court said it. First you need to write it. कहां से लिखना है? यहां से लिखिए, चंपाकम दुराराजन से लिखिए, या इक्वालिटी यहां से लिखिए. तो प्रीएम्बल क्या इंश्योर करना चाहता है? इक्वालिटी, फॉर्मल इक्वालिटी, सब्सटेंशियल इक्वालिटी. फॉर्मल इक्वालिटी क्या है? आर्टिकल 16 फॉर्मल इक्वालिटी बताता है, इक्वालिटी ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट. आर्टिकल 14 फॉर्मल इक्वालिटी की बात करता है, इक्वालिटी ऑफ रूल, इक्वालिटी बिफोर द लॉ. आर्टिकल 15 क्या कहता है? No citizen shall be discriminated. It means equality. But there are forms substantial equality in the Indian Constitution, which talks about. Now then you can provide Champakam Dorai. Then you can write Champakam Dorai Rajan. Now you write this part and then let me know. I will move it. फटाफट लिखिए और घर पे बैठ के आराम से एक स्टोरी लिखना. क्या हुआ? याद है सब? भूल जाओगे, अच्छी बात है. ये ऐसे करके याद रखोगे ना तो पूरा सीरीज याद रखेगा, कहां से डिबेट शुरू हुई, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का इंटेंशन क्या है, स्टेट क्या चाहता है, राइट? If you have noted down, write D. Everyone. Achira, Avai, Amber, Damanpreet, Debya, Harsh, फिर कौन है? फिरनाज खातून. Should I move it? बताओ तो मूव करना है. अच्छा ये लिखिए, फटाफट बनाइए. एक स्टोरी लिखना है. ये पता चला ना, ये स्टेट का पार्ट है. स्टेट ने, कोर्ट ने क्या किया, इसको नलीफाई कर दिया, खत्म कर दिया. देन दूसरा केस आया एमआर बालाजी में. स्टेट ने प्रमोट किया एमबीसी और ओबीसी को. कोर्ट ने किया क्या, लिमिट कर दिया. यू कैन बी लिमिट ओनली विद इन द 50%. अच्छा, टी देवादसन केस में क्या हुआ, कोर्ट, व्हाट हैपेंड इन टी देवादसन केस? स्टेट ने क्या किया कि स्टेट हैड गिवन रिजर्वेशन एंड ट्राइड टू रिक्रूट, राइट, बैकलॉग कोटा, बट कोर्ट ने क्या कहा, यू कैन नॉट गो फॉर द कैरी फॉरवर्ड रोल. फाइन, राइट इट. स्टोरी एक ही है. स्टेट वांट्स टू प्रोवाइड सोशल जस्टिस, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ट्राइज टू hinder it. Why is it so? Supreme Court believes in the formal equality and the state believes in the substantial equality. It believes in the preamble, DPSP. हो गया, चलो डन हो गया. तो फिर लिखिए, लिखिए तो ये बना दीजिए. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा बी इन लिमिट ऑफ 50% का हमारे बालाजी केस में. नाउ सेकंड बैकवर्ड क्लास कमीशन 1979, right, BP headed by BP Mandal, it gave 27% reservation. एक दिन और पढ़ाऊंगा रिजर्वेशन, अभी खत्म नहीं, कल भी चलेगा. ये पूरी कहानी बहुत लंबा कहानी है. पचास साल की दास्तां 1 घंटे में कैसे सुना दे. हाँ, डन डन. अंबर, अभिलाषा, अभय, फिरमान, हर्ष, शुभम, वैशाख. नाउ इसको पूरा कीजिए, देन आई विल स्टार्ट राइट डिक्टेशन. What PV Narasimha Rao government did, it given 27% reservation to OBC and 10% to EWS category. Now these are challenged in the Indrasani versus Union of India case. Fine, यहां से लिखाना शुरू करूं. डन हो गया, आपकी तरफ से डन है. यस, यू, अंबर, अथरा, अभय, दमन, दिव्या, साक्षी, राइट. शैली इज नॉट देयर टुडे. शुभम, साक्षी, वैशाख, डन. ओके, राइट. In Mandal case, start writing. In Mandal case, the Supreme Court made following observation. क्या? अरे लिखो ना तुम ऐसा भाई. फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट 10 बार पढ़ाऊंगा. जो फर्स्ट अमेंडमेंट है अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ है, 10 बार पढ़ाऊंगा. In the Mandal case, the Supreme Court made following observation. लिखिए, चिंता मत करिए. Right, in Mandal case, the Supreme Court made following observation. First, the total reservation should not exceed 50% except in extraordinary case. The SC made several observations. First, the total reservation should not exceed 50% except in extraordinary case. The total reservation should not exceed 50% except in extraordinary case. Okay. However, the Supreme Court did not explain the extraordinary case. The total reservation should not exceed 50% except in extraordinary case. However, the court did not explain what is extraordinary case. Second point, the Supreme Court argued that reservation should be given only in appointment. Reservation should be given only in initial appointment. दूसरा point, Supreme Court argued that reservation should be given only in initial appointment, not in promotion. Not in promotion. Fine. I'm skipping those observation that कल मैंने लिखवा दिया था. ये लिखवाया था कल क्या? नहीं लिखवाया था ना? ठीक है, ये भी था. फर्स्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट 4 बार पढ़ाऊंगा, अभी टेंशन मत लो. अभी वो बोला है और एक दिन इकट्ठा लिखवाऊंगा एक पेज फर्स्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट के एक्ट के बारे में. राइट नाउ लिखिए, इन रिस्पॉन्स टू द मंडल केस, in response to the Mandal case, the Parliament passed 77th Constitutional Amendment Act. In response to the SC in Mandal case, the Parliament passed or responded, passed the 77th CAA Constitutional Amendment Act and 85th Constitutional Amendment Act, and the 85th Constitutional Amendment Act 1995. अच्छा, ये कब था मंडल कमीशन? यू रिमेंबर टाइम? 1992. आज मैं ईयर भूल गया लिखवाना, पहले शायद लिखवा दिया होगा. राइट. अब क्या हुआ कि कोर्ट ने, पार्लियामेंट ने क्या किया, इन्होंने 77th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट निकाल दिया और दूसरा क्या किया, 85th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट पास कर दिया. नाउ ये है क्या 77th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट? हर्ष मंडल केस केम इन 1992. 1978 में तो बीपी मंडल का, 1979 में तो बीपी मंडल का रिपोर्ट आया है. फाइन हर्ष, and this is 1995. अब लॉ बेयर एक्ट. Right, what is 77th CAA? Right, what is 77th CAA? आर्टिकल 16 में ही पढ़ा हुआ है सब. देखिए, it granted, what is 77th CAA? It provided reservation in promotion. It provided रिजर्वेशन इन प्रमोशन। क्या था पता है? क्योंकि कोर्ट ने कहा था कि आप रिजर्वेशन इनिशियल में देंगे और आप प्रमोशन में रिजर्वेशन नहीं देंगे। कोर्ट ने क्या निकाल दिया, सॉरी स्टेट ने क्या किया? स्टेट amended the Indian Constitution and said that we will provide reservation in promotion. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि this was the first time when the reservation in promotion was there. No, there is already history. I will tell you, don't worry. There is already history. There was a reservation in promotion for the SC/ST. But Supreme Court ने क्या कहा इंदिरा साहनी केस में? What Supreme Court said in Indira Sahni case? You can give reservation in the initial appointment but not in promotion. What state responded? State responded with 77th CAA, and which provided reservation in promotion. Got the idea? Reservation in promotion means कि मैं मान लीजिए कि there are 2-3 people, A, B, C, D, 4 people, and C is SC community, D is ST community, right? But A and B are upper caste. Now promotion कितने साल में होना है? 5 साल में। रूल है कि 5 साल बाद आपका प्रमोशन होगा। But C and D will get promotion only in 3 years, right? But A and B will get promotion after 5 years because there is a rule. That is reservation in promotion.
It's a kind of injustice.
But what is there? Have you searched about 45 Central University VC? Name. Have you searched? Who are they? Mostly now 100% are the upper caste. It is not injustice to the Dalit community or a tribal community. State resources are for, belongs to everyone. State resources belongs to everyone, all community. It is not a property of the particular caste, right? So it is done in order to equalize. क्यों ज्यादा promotion? क्योंकि इनका representation in कम है, because the SC and ST representation is not adequate in each layer of the government, right? If you look at the government data, there are 4 kinds of job government is providing: A class job, B class job, C class job, D class job. You know all? Now A and B class are mostly occupied by the upper caste. It is overrepresented, and C and D are overrepresented by SC, ST and OBC. Now, can't you see that C and D should get promoted here? Is it not logical? Tell me. Is it completely logical that C and D needs reservation in promotion too? And this is nothing called कि A दूसरे यहाँ पर XY लिख लेता हूं यहाँ पर इनके जगह पे, right? कि उनके साथ injustice हो गया। नहीं, there are already representation of that community in that offices. There are already representation of that community in that offices. नहीं, मुझे बताइए कि कैसा लगेगा आपको कि यूपीएससी में 1000 सीटों हजारों केवल मेल आ जाए? It won't sound good. Yes, I can hear something from your side. किधर से आवाज आया? This is very prejudice. Male deserving है. This merit is a very fallacious concept. Yesterday I have given you example. ओलंपिक में, पिछले ओलंपिक में केवल वुमेन ने ओलंपिक लाया इंडिया के लिए, क्या मेल डिजर्व नहीं करते थे क्या? एग्जैक्टली सी, तो वही जो मेरिट है ना, मेरिट इज a very fallacious concept. It's okay, merit is fine. right? And everything is socially constructed. What is merit? Let me how it is socially constructed. अगर कोई फ्लाई ओवर ब्रिज गिर जाता है, अगर उसमें दलित, अगर मान लो एससी कम्युनिटी से इंजीनियर है, मीडिया प्रचार करके रख देगी, देखो इंजीनियर एससी कम्युनिटी से है, रिजर्वेशन से आया है, राइट, इसीलिए पुल गिर गया. हाँ हाँ, इट्स ट्रुथ. बट देयर आर, इफ यू सी देयर आर, यू नो, इट्स नॉट दैट कि पुल नहीं गिरता है और उसमें इंजीनियर नहीं होते हैं. अपर कास्ट होता है, वो हाइप में नहीं आता है. लेट मी टेल यू. क्या अब ये बोल रहे हैं सफोकेटिंग मेरिट फॉर वैल्यू इज नॉट एथिकल, राइट, बट इट इज एथिकल टू सबऑर्डिनेट वन कम्युनिटी ऑन एट द एक्सपेंस ऑफ अदर. वैशाख इज सेइंग, you know, but important is that it is should be on the basis of caliber. Fine, I agree with you, Vaishak, but subjugating merit for value is not ethical. But is it, Vaishak, is it ethical to subordinate one community? The entire history has subordinated one community, right? And if you want to ask me, sir, how can you say that? I have evidence to say you. Have you heard about Forest Right Act 2006? फॉरेस्ट राइट एक्ट नहीं सुना? फॉरेस्ट राइट एक्ट आया है 2006 में, उसका गजट नोटिफिकेशन पढ़ लीजिएगा, राइट. गजट नोटिफिकेशन स्टेट्स दैट द इंडियन स्टेट हैज डन, you know, the community has faced complex historical injustice in the past. स्टेट कह रही है, but it has been 75 years. Tell me, आपने कोई बच्चे का नाम सुना है जो अपर कास्ट है, उसने पानी पिया और मर गया, मार दिया उसे? Have you heard about Rajasthan case? A student, you know, drank water from his teacher pot and he was killed, right? You must have heard about many Dalit people have been hanged on tree. Have you ever heard about a Brahmin killed and hanged to the tree? Not at all, because that is not the case, right? Still discrimination is going on. Still there is a huge discrimination is going on. Fine. अच्छा, 85th अमेंडमेंट क्या था, ये लिख लीजिए. ये तो हमने गवर्नमेंट ने दो लाया, 77th एंड 85th. व्हाट वाज 85th CAA? What was 85th CAA? Right? Look, the government introduced Article 416 Clause 4A. 16 Clause 4A, which provided consequential seniority. 4 में है या 4A में है? Wait. हाँ, 4A, yeah. 4A, which provided consequential seniority. Which provided consequential seniority. Which provided consequential seniority to SC/ST in matter of reservation in promotion. अच्छा, पता चला 85th क्या था? अच्छा, मुझे ये डिस्कस करना है, व्हाट इज कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल सीनियरिटी। पहले लिख लीजिए, लिख लिया? डन। वैशाख, वैशाख बहुत गुस्सा है सर। अब एक्सेप्शनल केसेस में तो वन शुड नॉट स्टीरियोटाइप, या आई शुड नॉट स्टीरियोटाइप। आई कैन नॉट से दैट द ऑल अपर कास्ट ट्रीट्स or discriminates. It's not like that, but discrimination happens on the basis of social group, right? The caste, gender, right? And compromising others. Sacrifice तो करना पड़ेगा। अब sacrifice कहाँ है यार? sacrifice नहीं है, it's not। आप 100 में से 100 लेना चाहते हो और ये बोल रहे हो sacrifice। you know entitlement क्या है? इंटाइटलमेंट मतलब क्या होता है? प्रिविलेज, अपना शान समझना, पूर्वजों से आता रहा है, राइट? फ्रॉम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन वी हैव कैप्चर्ड 100% एंड वी हैव क्लेम ओवर 100% इवन टुडे। वी डोंट वांट टू शेयर, यू नो, फ्रॉम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन 100% state resources as captured by the upper caste and they have claim over it as an entitlement. They don't want to share as per proportion to the population. That is entitlement, right? Man has entitlement. How many of you in which, how, you know, your papa cooks food on regular basis? On regular basis. Sunday is not regular basis. Now look at, आप बोलोगे कि सर नहीं मेल इक्वल है फीमेल का, हो ही नहीं सकता। There are a structural division on the basis of caste, on the basis of gender, right? Why I bring gender? Because I know upper caste, if they can't experience, they may not feel the pain of the Dalit, but they can, you know, feel the pain of, you know, the woman in their family. That's why I brought gender into discussion, right? I cannot experience because I cannot be a woman, right? But I can feel that yes, there is some injustice happens with the woman, isn't it? There are humiliation. Fine. Sakshi, is reservation solve the problem of unequally fully? Not at all. Reservation not able to solve the social problem, not at all. Talented people leave the country due to reservation. अरे reservation के कारण नहीं नितिन, they are living for money. They are living for money. Look at engineers, you know, who have export on IA, artificial intelligence. क्या मुझे यूपीएससी में फॉर्म भर दें क्या वो यूपीएससी के लिए? नहीं भाई, राइट? बट उन पे रिजर्वेशन का सुन लो, वो बोलेंगे मेरा सीट कट गया भाई, देखो मैं यहां पे काम कर रहा हूं। तुम कभी थे ही नहीं उस फील्ड में, यू आर नॉट इंटेंडेड टू एवर, राइट? इट्स नॉट दैट। वैशाख बोल रहे हैं इफ दे डोंट गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटीज दे डिजर्व, they leave. No, it doesn't look like that. There are many people who works, right, on different grounds. Come back, yes, काम करते हैं, गवर्नमेंट नहीं, प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में काम करते हैं, राइट? प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में कौन सा रिजर्वेशन है बताइए ना, है क्या? Do you know any entrepreneurs who is Dalit, even single one? But there are. Have you heard about FICCI? FICCI, FICCI, right? Same like there is a DICCI, DICCI, Dalit Chamber of Commerce and Industry, right? Why DICCI framed? Because FICCI has not given due space to the Dalit entrepreneurs. Fine. We'll carry on this debate on reservation. Tomorrow we will talk about, you know, quota within the quota in SC It's not that all SC are homogeneous. There are some elite within the SC. And there is a debate that yes, elite within the SC should be eliminated from the reservation so that the more and more vulnerable class within the SC should be included, right? There is also debate on qualification of OBC. We will talk tomorrow, and then we will also talk about reservation in promotion. Yeah, consequential कल ही बताऊंगा. ये याद दिलाना 85th ये दोनों यहीं से शुरू करेंगे हम लोग. फाइन? या कोई सवाल है तो बोलो. So, sir, कल हर्ष, tomorrow I'll talk about consequential seniority. Tomorrow I'll talk about consequential seniority.